you ever looked at your children and thought, I love them more than anything in the world, so why do I feel nothing? If you've ever had this thought, I want you to hear something and I want you to hear it really clearly. Having this thought does not mean you are a bad father. And it does not mean that you do not love your children. And it also doesn't mean that you are failing as a parent. Because this is one of the most painful things that many fathers quietly experience, but very few feel able to talk about it. Hi, I'm Cheryl from Your Time to Shine Therapy, and I created the Heart to Heal method because I believe many people are carrying emotional experiences they don't fully understand. They can see, what's happening on the surface, but they do not always understand what is happening underneath that. They don't understand the thoughts, they don't understand the emotions, and they don't understand the patterns. And it's really hard to understand, the ways that our mind and our body learn to cope when life becomes really overwhelming. The Heart to Heal method is about helping people understand those deeper patterns and reconnecting with themselves and creating lasting emotional change. Many fathers who experience emotional numbness are not lacking love. In fact, many of them care really, really deeply. They'll show up and they provide for their family. And they also do, protecting. And they take responsibility, they'll go out with them on a Sunday, they'll go and play football, they'll do all these things. And from the outside, they may look like they've got everything under control and they're managing everything. But on the inside, something feels really different. They may feel a little bit disconnected. They may feel they are going through the motions. They may wonder why they are not experiencing the emotions that they think they should be feeling. And that can create a huge amount of guilt and confusion. Because our mind often jumps to the hardest question. And that question is, does this mean I don't love my children enough? Emotional numbness is often not a sign that the love has disappeared. Sometimes it's a sign that your emotional system has been carrying too much for too long. For many fathers, this can happen after years of pressure and responsibility. Always needing to be strong, always needing to be providing, always needing to be keeping things together, always managing workloads, always managing finances, and always being there supporting your family and trying to be the person that everyone else depends on. Over time, constantly operating under pressure can leave very little space to process your own emotions. And sometimes, as a way of coping, your system begins to turn down the volume on those emotions. And that's not because you don't care, it's because you've been carrying more than you've had the opportunity to process. Sometimes people think, if I'm not feeling emotionally connected, something must be wrong with me. But a more helpful question is, what has my mind and body been trying to protect me from? Because emotional numbness can sometimes be the result of prolonged stress. It can be emotional exhaustion or years of putting your own needs at the bottom of the list. Your system may not be failing you, it may actually be trying to help you cope. So how do we move from shame to understanding? Well, the problem is that shame often makes people withdraw even further. They start judging themselves. They start believing they are not good enough. They start hiding what they're experiencing because they're afraid of what it might mean. But healing begins when we replace judgment with curiosity. So instead of you asking yourself, what is wrong with me? Then try asking, What has happened that has caused me to feel this way? That one question opens the door to understanding. Through the Heart to Heal method, we explore the emotional patterns, the stress responses, and experiences that can leave people feeling disconnected from themselves and the people they love. The aim is not to force emotions back. The aim is to understand what has been happening internally, process what has been carried, and rebuild emotional connection and balance. Because sometimes the feelings that we're afraid most to admit are the feelings that need the most compassion and understanding. If you recognise yourself in this, please know that you're not the only person who has experienced it. Many people quietly carry emotions they struggle to explain. And often healing begins with the moment we stop criticising ourselves and start becoming more curious about what is happening underneath the surface. So take a moment and ask yourself this. What have I been carrying that I have never allowed myself to process? Because understanding yourself is often the first step towards reconnecting with yourself and the people you love. Please subscribe and follow along for more videos like this, and I shall see you again in the next video. Bye for now.